This channel has been established for visually impaired people. For the visually impaired people, voice narration and a written expression are also provided for the hearing impaired. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Political divisions of the United States or administrative divisions of the United States are the various governing entities that together form the United States. The first subdivision of the United States, meaning the Union of States, is the state. The admission of sovereign states into the United States, i.e., the Union of States, beyond the original 13 states, is authorized under Article 4, Section 3, of the Constitution for the United States of America. Most of the states admitted to the Union after the original 13 have been formed within territories of the United States, that is, land under the sovereignty of the federal government but not part of any state, that were organized by an act or resolution of the United States Congress, subject to the Congress's plenary powers under the Territorial Clause of Article 4, Sec. 3, of the Constitution for the United States of America. State governments within the United States may enact their own laws and prosecute crimes pursuant thereto. Member states of the United States are then typically subdivided into counties. Louisiana uses the term parish and Alaska uses the term borough for what the census terms county equivalents in those states. Territories, except the minor outlying islands, are subdivided into municipalities. Guam uses the term village and the U.S. Virgin Islands uses the term districts. American Samoa uses the terms district and unorganized atolls. While not explicitly part of the U.S.'s political divisional makeup, as associated states, the Federated States of Micronesia and Palau are divided into states. States of Micronesia and States of Palau. The Marshall Islands is divided into atolls and islands, while Micronesia is a federation. Palau and the Marshall Islands are both unitary states. Each Indian reservation is subdivided in various ways. For example, the Navajo Nation is subdivided into agencies and chapter houses, while the Blackfeet Nation is subdivided into communities. Counties and county equivalents may be further subdivided into townships. Towns in New York, Wisconsin, and New England are treated as equivalents to townships by the United States Census Bureau. Towns or townships are used as subdivisions of a county in 20 states, mostly in the Northeast and Midwest. Population centers may be organized into incorporated cities, towns, villages, and other types of municipalities. Municipalities are typically subordinate to a county government, with some exceptions. Certain cities, for example, have consolidated with their county government as consolidated city counties. In Virginia, cities are completely independent from the county in which they would otherwise be a part. In some states, particularly in New England, towns form the primary unit of local government below the state level, in some cases eliminating the need for county government entirely. Other divisions include the federal district, insular areas administered by the federal government, and American Indian reservations. The federal government also maintains exclusive jurisdiction over military installations and American embassies and consulates located in foreign countries. Other special purpose divisions exist separately from those for general governance, examples of which include conservation districts and congressional districts. Contents: 1 states and their subdivisions, 11 states, 12 counties, 13 towns and townships, 14 municipalities, 15 other subdivisions, 2 federal oversight of United States territory, 21 Congress of the United States, 22 United States Department of the Interior, 23 other federal oversight, 3 jurisdictions not administered by the states, 31 District of Columbia, 32 Insular Areas, 33 American Indian reservations, 4 other defined areas. 5 See also 6 references, 7 sources, 8 external links. States and their subdivisions. States. Main articles: U.S. state, list of U.S. states, and local government in the United States. The primary political unit of the United States is the state according to numerous decisions of the United States Supreme Court. The 50 individual states and the United States as a whole are each sovereign jurisdictions. The 13 original states, 13 colonies, declared independence from the British Empire in 1776. In 1777, they established a collective government under the Articles of Confederation. The Constitution for the United States of America superseded the Articles in 1789 in the sense that it established and superimposed a consolidated political government over the Confederated Union of Geographical States. The Constitution for the United States of America establishes the political government for the federal government of the United States, which includes, among other things, judicial, Review, power to regulate citizenship, power to coin money, power to regulate commerce with foreign nations, and among the several states, conduct foreign policy, and to make all laws which shall be necessary and proper for carrying into execution the foregoing powers, and all other powers vested by this Constitution in the government of the United States, or in any department or officer thereof. The idea of dual sovereignty or separate sovereigns is derived from the 10th Amendment to the Constitution, which states that the powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively, or to the people. The United States Supreme Court in Texas v. White held that political states do not have the right to secede, though it did allow some possibility of the divisibility through revolution, or through consent of the states. 4 states Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Kentucky call themselves commonwealths. The word commonwealth in this context refers to the common wealth, or welfare, of the public. The term has no legal impact. While state governments within the United States may enact their own laws and prosecute crimes pursuant thereto, they are not sovereign in the Westphalian sense in international law, which says that each state has sovereignty over its territory and domestic affairs, to the exclusion of all external powers, on the principle of non-interference in another state's domestic affairs, and that each state, no matter how large or small, is equal in international law. Additionally, the member states of the United States do not possess international legal sovereignty, meaning that they are not recognized by other sovereign states such as, for example, France, Germany or the United Kingdom, nor do they possess full interdependent sovereignty, meaning that they cannot control movement of persons across state borders. The 50 states of the United States of America are as follows. This list includes both the postal code abbreviation and the traditional abbreviation for each state. Main article, County. United States. The states are divided into smaller administrative regions, called counties in all but 2 states. The exceptions are Alaska, where main subdivisions as the boroughs. Parts of the state are not included in any borough, called the unorganized borough, is divided into census areas, and Louisiana, which is divided into county equivalents that are called parishes. Counties have varying degrees of political and legal significance in some states, mainly in New England. They are primarily used as judicial districts in other states. Counties have broad powers in housing, education, transportation and recreation. Counties may contain a number of cities, towns, villages, or hamlets, or sometimes just a part of a city. Some cities are consolidated with, and coterminous with, their counties, including Philadelphia, Honolulu, San Francisco, Nashville, and Denver. That is to say, these counties consist in their entirety of a single municipality, the government of which also operates as the county government. Some counties, such as Arlington County, Virginia, do not have any additional subdivisions. Some states contain independent cities that are not part of any county. New York City is coterminous with 5 counties. Towns and townships. Main article, Township. United States. See also, Incorporated Town section. Towns and townships are subdivisions of counties in many states. States not having such subdivisions may divide counties into other minor civil divisions. The terms township and town are closely related in many historical documents. The terms are used interchangeably. However, the powers granted to towns or townships vary considerably from state to state. In New England, towns are a principal form of local government, providing many of the functions of counties in other states. In California, by contrast, the pertinent statutes of the Government Code clarify that town is simply another word for city, especially a general law city as distinct from a charter city. Also, in some states, large areas have no general-purpose local government below the county level. Some townships or other minor civil divisions have governments and political power, others are simply geographic designations. Townships in many states are generally the product of the Public Land Survey system. For more information, see Survey. Township and civil township. Municipalities. Main article, City section. Of a special status somewhat equivalent to that of metropolitan municipality, that is, as bodies corporate, they operate as though they were municipalities, but they have autonomy from legislative and executive control. Each university has a board which is the sole legislative body for the campuses they control. These campuses are independent of all state laws, and under the sole control of the boards. The boards are responsible for all public services, e.g. policing, and fire protection. They often contract with the city they are located in for these services, but all shall have their own police departments. Federal oversight of United States territory. Congress of the United States. Article 4, Section 3 of the Constitution for the United States of America defines the extent of the authority that the U.S. Congress exercises over the territory of the United States. New states may be admitted by the Congress into this union, but no new state shall be formed or erected within the jurisdiction of any other state, nor any state be formed by the junction of two or more states, or parts of states, without the consent of the legislatures of the states concerned as well as of the Congress. The Congress shall have power to dispose of and make all needful rules and regulations respecting the territory or other property belonging to the United States, and nothing in this Constitution shall be so construed as to prejudice any claims of the United States, or of any particular state. The power of Congress over territorial divisions that are not part of one of the states is exclusive and universal. Once a territory becomes a state of the Union, the state must consent to any changes pertaining to the jurisdiction of that state. The only potential violation of this occurred when the legislature of Virginia declared the secession of Virginia from the United States at the start of the American Civil War, and a newly formed alternative Virginia legislature, recognized by the federal government, consented to have West Virginia secede from Virginia. United States Department of the Interior. On March 3, 1849, the last day of the 30th Congress, a bill was passed to create the U.S. Department of the Interior to take charge of the internal affairs of United States territory. The Interior Department has a wide range of responsibilities which include the regulation of territorial governments, the basic responsibilities for public lands, and other various duties. In contrast to similarly named departments in other countries, the United States Department of the Interior is not responsible for local government or for civil administration except in the cases of Indian reservations, through the Bureau of Indian Affairs (BIA), and island dependencies, through the Office of Insular Affairs (OIA). Other federal oversight. The federal government also exercises exclusive jurisdiction over overseas military installations and American embassies and consulates located in foreign countries. It exercises concurrent jurisdiction to varying degrees with the states in many domestic federal enclaves. Jurisdictions not administered by the states. District of Columbia. Main article, District of Columbia. A separate federal district, the District of Columbia D.C., which is under the direct authority of Congress, was formed from land ceded to the federal government by the states of Maryland and Virginia. However, the territory ceded by Virginia was returned to that state in 1846. The district does not form part of any state, and the United States Congress exercises exclusive jurisdiction in all cases whatsoever over the city. However, the District of Columbia Home Rule Act provides for limited home rule, including an elected mayor and city council. Residents of the district can vote in presidential elections, as the 23rd Amendment to the United States Constitution grants the District 3 electors in the Electoral College. Insular Areas. Main articles, Insular Area and Territories of the United States. The insular areas of the United States are those jurisdictions that are neither a part of one of the 50 states nor the federal district. Unlike within the states, sovereignty over insular areas rests not with the local people, but in Congress in most cases. However, Congress has granted considerable self-rule through an organic act, which functions as a local constitution. Insular areas are administered by the federal government through the Department of the Interior's Office of Insular Affairs. The insular areas include a number of territories under the sovereignty of the United States and 3 sovereign nations in free association with the United States. Territories incorporated within the provisions of the Constitution for the United States of America are designated incorporated territories. Territories not so incorporated are designated unincorporated. Territories may also be organized, if granted by an organic act of Congress, or unorganized without direct authorization of self-government by such an act. The Northwest Ordinance grants territories the right to send a non-voting delegate to the U.S. Congress. Since the organization of the Northwest Territory in 1789, all areas not admitted to the United States as states were under the direct control of Congress as organized incorporated territories, with some political autonomy at the local level. These organized incorporated territories subsequently became states. 31 of the current 50 states were organized incorporated territories before their admission to the Union. Since the admission of Hawaii to the Union in 1959, there has been a single incorporated territory, the uninhabited Palmyra Atoll, formerly part of the Hawaii Territory, but excluded from the Act of Admission. The unincorporated territories of the United States and their ISO 3166-1 codes in parentheses are as follows. Kingman Reef Midway Atoll administered as the Midway Atoll National Wildlife Refuge, small number of contractors present. Navassa Island disputed with Haiti. Wake Island, small number of contractors present, disputed with Marshall Islands. In addition to the territories noted above, the United States administered the Trust Territory of the Pacific Islands from July 18, 1947 until October 1, 1994. The Trust Territory was subsequently divided into 4 political entities, the Northern Mariana Islands, listed above, and 3 freely associated states with which the United States has entered into the Compact of Free Association ISO 3166-1 codes in parentheses. Truly sovereign at the time of the signing. The United States argues this point is irrelevant because Cuba apparently ratified the lease post-revolution, and with full sovereignty, when it cashed one rent check in accordance with the disputed treaty. The United States government is part of several international disputes over the disposition of certain maritime and insular sovereignties, some of which would be considered territories. Bajo Nuevo Bank and Serranía Bank are 2 such disputed claims. See International Territorial Disputes of the United States for more information. The United States also holds several other territories, districts, and possessions, notably the Federal District of the District of Columbia, and several overseas insular areas, the most significant of which are American Samoa, Guam, the Northern Mariana Islands, Puerto Rico, and the United States Virgin Islands. Islands gained by the United States in the war against Spain at the turn of the 20th century under the control of the federal government is considered part of the United States for purposes of law. On the other hand, the United States Supreme Court declared in a series of opinions known as the Insular Cases that the Constitution extended ex proprio vigor to the territories. However, the court in these cases also established the doctrine of territorial incorporation under the same. The Constitution only applied fully in incorporated territories such as Alaska and Hawaii, whereas it only applied partially in the new unincorporated territories of Puerto Rico, Guam and the Philippines. The Northern Marianas Islands is a territory which are commonwealths associated with the United States. They might someday advance to statehood, or they might become independent, as did the Philippines in 1946, after it was a commonwealth of the United States for many years. A territory, whether organized or unorganized, has significantly fewer rights in the grand scheme of things than a commonwealth, let alone a state, but it ranks at least a notch above possessions such as Wake Island, which has no permanent population and thus does not require even a simple territorial government. American Indian Reservations. Main article, Indian Reservation. American Indian Reservations are areas of land managed by an American Indian tribe under the United States Department of the Interior's Bureau of Indian Affairs. There are about 310 Indian reservations in the United States. Tribes possess limited tribal sovereignty over the land in their reservation. As a result, laws on tribal lands may vary from the surrounding area. The Tribal Council, not the county or state government, generally has jurisdiction over reservations. Different reservations have different systems of government, which may or may not replicate the forms of government found outside the reservation. Most Indian reservations were established by the federal government. A limited number, mainly in the East, owe their origin to state recognition. Residents of a reservation may vote as residents of a state and are required to pay federal taxes. The special status of reservations has created both opportunities such as gambling in states that normally disallow it and challenges such as the unwillingness of some companies to do business in an area where they are not certain what laws will apply to them. Other defined areas. In addition to general-purpose government entities legislating at the state, county, and city level, special-purpose areas may exist as well. Conservation districts are one such type of special-purpose area, created for the purpose of conserving land, natural scenery, flora, and fauna. Congressional districts are another example, formed for the purpose of electing members to the United States Congress. Additionally, U.S. courts have ruled that there are smaller areas which are to be considered as fulfilling government functions, and should therefore be bound by the same restrictions placed on traditional U.S.-aligned government bodies. These include homeowners associations determined in Shelley v. Kremer, Lauren v. Sasser, Committee for a Better Twin Rivers v. Twin Rivers Homeowners Association, and company-owned towns both for employees and for consumers, decided in the USSC case Marsh v. Alabama in 1946. Many homeowners and neighborhood associations are considered non-profit organizations, but have the ability to raise taxes or fees, fine members for infractions against association rules, and initiate lawsuits. The question of civil rights in such communities has not yet been conclusively determined, and varies from state to state. See also United States portal. Geography of the United States. Historic regions of the United States. History of United States. Continental expansion. History of United States. Overseas expansion. Index of United States. Related articles. List of regions of the United States. List of U.S. colonial possessions. List of U.S. state demonyms. List of U.S. state, district, and territorial insignia. Organized territory. Outline of the United States. Territorial evolution of the United States. Territories of the United States. Territories of the United States on stamps. Unceded territory. United States territory. Unorganized territory. U.S. state references. AB Constitution for the United States of America, Article 4, Section 3, Paragraph 1. Legal Information Institute, Cornell University Law School. Retrieved 17 October 2015. Law School. Retrieved 17 October 2015. System, A Guide for State Policymakers. PDF. Ferris State University. External links. Animated map, boundaries of the United States and the several states. U.S. Census Bureau. Geographic Areas Reference Manual. Citymayors article. Atlas of Historical County Boundaries. V.E. Political Divisions of the United States. States. Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, West Virginia, Wisconsin, Wyoming, Federal District, Washington, D.C. Insular Areas, American Samoa, Guam, Northern Mariana Islands, Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands, Outlying Islands, Baker Island, Howland Island, Jarvis Island, Johnston Atoll, Kingman Reef, Midway Atoll, Navassa Island, Palmyra Atoll, Wake Island. Indian reservations. List of Indian reservations. Largest associated states. Federated States of Micronesia, Marshall Islands, Palau v. Administrative divisions of the United States by first-level jurisdiction. States. Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, West Virginia, Wisconsin, Wyoming, Federal District, Washington, D.C. Insular Areas, American Samoa, Guam, Northern Mariana Islands, Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands. V.E. Administrative divisions of the Americas. North America, South America. Sovereign states. Antigua and Barbuda, Argentina, Bahamas, Barbados, Belize, Bolivia, Brazil, Canada, Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, Cuba, Dominica, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, El Salvador, Grenada, Guatemala, Guyana, Haiti, Honduras, Jamaica, Mexico, Nicaragua, Panama, Paraguay, Peru, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Suriname, Trinidad and Tobago, United States, Uruguay, Venezuela dependencies and other territories. Anguilla, Aruba, Bermuda, Bonaire, British Virgin Islands, Cayman Islands, Curaçao, Falkland Islands, French Guiana, Greenland, Guadeloupe, Martinique, Montserrat, Puerto Rico, Saint Barthélemy, Saint Martin, Saint Pierre and Miquelon, Saba, Saint Eustatius, Saint Martin, South Georgia and the South Sandwich Islands, Turks and Caicos Islands, U.S. Virgin Islands. V.E. United States territorial evolution. Mexican-American War, Civil War, Reconstruction era, Indian Wars, Gilded Age, Progressive era, African-American Civil Rights Movement 1865 to 1895, Cold War, Korean War, Space Race, Civil Rights Movement, Feminist Movement, Vietnam War, Post-Cold War 1991, Present War on Terror, War in Afghanistan, Iraq War. Timeline of modern American conservatism by topic. Demographic discoveries, economic debt ceiling, inventions before 1890.